Welcome to the deep dive. Our journey begins in January 1979. We're setting our compass for Japan's uh, really vibrant and fiercely competitive arcade industry.
Yeah, it was an incredible time.
This deep dive is all about unpacking the excitement, the challenges, and maybe some surprising social currents that were shaping things as the decade kicked off.
Absolutely. We're talking Taito, Namco, Sega, Nintendo, all the big names.
Exactly. We'll look at the key players, the market trends, social shifts, and, try to immerse you in the heart of that era with some really interesting anecdotes.
Sounds great. Where do we start?
Okay, so January 1979. What was the overall mood? Reading the New Year's greetings in Game Machine magazine, you get this sense of, well, massive optimism.
Oh, definitely. There was this real belief, a strong conviction
Yeah.
that Japan was already making world-class stuff.
Right. Not just catching up, but leading.
Yeah, but it wasn't just patting themselves on the back. There was also this feeling, that they had to build on it, look for what's next.
Exploring new possibilities.
Exactly, and aiming for this kind of globally responsible position, which is pretty forward-thinking, not just for business, but maybe national pride, too.
That's a great point, and you could hear that from the key leaders,
Yeah.
like Akio Nakanishi at Taito. He was also VP at the All Japan Amusement Park Association, the JAA.
Right. And what was his focus?
He was really pushing the table-type machines, those sit-down cabinets. He saw them as creating a whole new genre.
Makes sense. They were everywhere. But he also mentioned the regulations, didn't he?
Yes, the Electric Appliance Control Law, Dentorihu, that came into effect back in March '78.
Okay, and that meant?
It meant all electric amusement machines needed model approval for safety, and it was the manufacturer's job to get it.
Okay, so a bit of red tape alongside the boom. Is everyone following it?
Well, Nakanishi seemed pretty concerned about ongoing violations. The association was trying hard to clamp down on that. It raises that classic question, right? Innovation versus regulation.
Yeah. How do you balance that speed with, making sure things are safe? Still
Yeah.
relevant today.
Totally. Then you had Katsunori Manabe from Sigma, also a JAA VP, involved with the Operators Association, JOU.
Okay, and his angle, JOU was, what, 6 years old then?
Yeah, 6 years. He was big on thanking the industry for support, but his main thing seemed to be improving the public image.
Tackling that sort of slightly negative perception of game corners.
Exactly. Professionalizing. JOU was helping members with operations, location strategies. It was about making the industry look, well, more legitimate.
External perception was clearly a big deal for them then.
Definitely. So with all that excitement, but also these challenges bubbling up, let's talk players and products. Taito, obviously. Space Invaders. Huge.
Colossal.
Yeah.
But the downside of that kind of hit, imitations everywhere.
Right. But Taito wasn't just sitting back. They were diversifying. You mentioned block games earlier.
Yeah, they were pushing into those like
Yeah.
GT block. It had this flashing block that made the whole stack drop. Pretty neat twist.
And Space Stranger.
That one had 3 modes. Double, captivity, avalanche. Different ways to play the same core idea. They also had Miracle Super Space Fighter, high scores, katakana display, trying different things.
So iterating fast, even within those new genres. Now, Namco, they had a slightly different vibe, didn't they?
Yeah, Namco was all about originality, quality, durability, build machines that last long. That was a key message for operators.
Makes sense for the people buying the machines. What were their standouts then?
Well, they had G-Pi, a table version of something popular, Submarine, which was electromechanical, kind of cool, that blend of physical and electronic.
Pre-digital age tech.
Exactly. And Clay Champ, a gun game, noted for good looks and tech. They explicitly said they wanted to make original TV games as a series. Keep operators happy with genuine innovation.
So less focus on just cashing in quick.
That seemed to be the message. They knew new machines drove growth, but they argued a genuine effort was needed to grow the whole pie. They even talked about imitations, framing their stance as being about mutual prosperity, not just looking out for number one.
That's quite a mature stance for such a hot market. Do you think it actually worked, that mutual prosperity idea?
Well, it was the ideal they were putting out there, maybe trying to build a more stable ecosystem. Hard to say how effective it was on the ground, but it shows a certain level of thinking.
Interesting. Okay, what about Sega? They were making moves too.
Big time. Sega Enterprises announced a whole new corporate structure, bringing Esco Boeki and Gremlin in as subsidiaries.
And GameWive.
New TV games, Space Fighter, their take on the Invader theme, Spaceship versus Aliens, and Chess Ring, which was wild, a shogi-themed TV game. Knights, queens, kings as targets.
Shogi, that's different.
Totally. And they also did Candy Pet, a crane machine, but specifically aimed at kids. Easy to play, safe. That shows them thinking about different markets, different demographics.
Smart move.
Hmm.
And speaking of kids, Nintendo was already focused there, right? Back then, they were Nintendo Leisure System Co., Ltd.
Yep. Their stated goal was nurturing children's dreams with healthy amusement machines.
Yeah.
Very Nintendo, even then.
What were they pushing?
Promoting stuff popular the year before, like London Bus
Yeah.
and Duet. And their strategy was about developing unique products by re-examining past machines, looking back to innovate forward.
A theme we've definitely seen from them since. Okay, Universal. They were busy too.
Oh, yeah. Universal had Getaway Deluxe, a driving game, Cosmic Monster, a table-type space shooter, and a block game, Little Man Block, with blocks moving up and down, scores, credits.
And they had that series, the Space Block series, UFO #1, Super UFO.
Right. And the cool thing there was modularity. Operators could add different base units to change the game. That was pretty clever for the time flexibility, longer machine life.
Lots of innovation happening. What about some of the other players? IPM?
IPM had their PT series, PT Mahjong game, microcomputer controlled, 1 or 2 players, remembered winning hands. Pretty advanced. They also had PT IPM Invader in color, and a cat and mouse game, PT9 Coral.
Color was still a premium feature then. Hope Industries.
Hope had London Bus, Duet, Jet Play, Red Arrow. They were focused on being efficient, cost-effective. Planned new stuff for the spring. Opened a new Kansai sales office, too.
Okay, and Jotco.
Jotco made Spectre, yep, another
Yeah.
Invader clone. But they also branched out karaoke machines, like the Jotco 1500, and even an auto tennis machine.
Karaoke, already blurring the lines. Sanwa Co.
They had BGM Invader, Moonbase, Destroyer, and Fever, a block game that actually paid out prizes.
Interesting. Prize payouts. Wacko International.
Metal games. Hanafuda and Poker, Mr. Poker. Use microcomputers, color TVs, slot machine style, playing against the computer.
Yazuno Shoka.
Striker, a pitching machine, more physical.
And Data East.
They had Space Fighter, Super Break, Miracle Super, seemed focused on developing new genres of TV games.
Wow, it really was a packed field. Everyone trying everything.
Incredibly dynamic. Physical games, electromechanical, early microcomputer stuff, exploring every angle.
It's interesting to see how this connects beyond Japan, too. The sources mention Shipar, a U.S. jukebox maker.
Yeah, huge in the 50s, like 80% market share. But then they ran into anti-monopoly trouble, had to sell off ownership by 1960.
Oof. A bit of a cautionary tale there.
Definitely. About getting too big too fast, maybe echoed some of the concerns in Japan about competition and clones.
And on the flip side, Williams in the U.S., pinball maker.
They grew massively by adopting electronic circuits. Shows how technology could just completely reshape the market.
But even that had controversy. Something about a Brooke Shields movie.
Yeah, Tilt. She played a pinball wizard. Apparently it kicked up a fuss in the U.S. industry. Some worried it would damage the image of pinball.
Wow, a movie causing industry panic. That says a lot about how they saw themselves or wanted to be seen.
For sure. Image was clearly important.
Okay, back in Japan, that Dentorihu law, the safety regulation, that was a big deal shaping things.
Absolutely. It covered everything, electric arcade games, other electronic applied amusement equipment. And the first TV games only started getting that official type approval in late '78.
So the regulations were just catching up to the tech.
Pretty much. Legitimizing the new ways, setting safety standards, crucial step.
And trend-wise, tabletop TV games were king. Total boom. But metal games, the sources say, a downturn.
It's nuanced. It sounds like manufacturers weren't releasing many new ones. High development costs, maybe the market felt saturated with existing machines.
But people were still playing them?
Apparently, yes. The number of places with metal games and the number of machines out there kept going up, especially in places like restaurants, up 20% in the last year.
Huh. So not a decline in play, just a shift in where they were and maybe less focus on brand new models from the big companies.
Exactly. Operators using existing stock, finding new locations. It's a subtle market shift.
Interesting. And beyond arcades, amusement parks were evolving too. Looping coasters were coming?
Yeah, big plans. Meisho Tokushu Sanjo's looping coaster at Mitsui, Greenland. Sansei Yusoki importing a German Schwarzkopf shuttle loop for Yokohama Dreamland. Azumi Yuya Kogyo planning one too. Things are getting faster, loopier.
Literally reaching new heights. And of course, Tokyo Disneyland was in the works.
Phase 3 was progressing. The first Disney park outside the U.S. That's a massive signal about the scale and ambition of entertainment coming to Japan.
Huge. Let's look internationally again. Nolan Bushnell at Atari. What was his take on the U.S. market?
He was optimistic, even with recession fears. He pointed out the industry started during the Great Depression. Resilience, right?
Good point. Did he see another tech revolution coming?
He expected TV games to keep growing, but interestingly, didn't predict the same kind of massive electronic shift that pinball had just seen. He stressed durable products, constant innovation from
And
makers,
for operators.
focus on competition, efficiency, and he even mentioned the new US dollar coin. Thought it could boost arcade use. It's amazing how something like currency can ripple through.
It really is. Okay, back in Japan, the associations JAA, JOU, they were important glue, weren't they?
Definitely. JA was holding meetings, sorting out officers structured by AM, OP, and parks. Their big role was representing the industry to the government.
Lobbying, essentially.
Pretty much. And JOU, in its 6th year, kept supporting operators, working on that public image stuff we talked about.
And there was even an invader association.
Yeah, shows how big the imitation problem was after Space Invaders. The industry was really grappling with the consequences of that mega hit, growing pains.
You can really picture it. Let's dive into some of those anecdotes. The atmosphere in game centers at New Year 79.
Oh, sounded electric, crowded, lively, disco music spilling out, people queuing up for the hot machines. You can almost feel that buzz.
Yeah, and it sparked imagination, too. There was that editorial piece about Hidezo Takahashi, the pinball wizard.
Right, and the story suggests his skill wasn't just skill, but maybe influence from a Space New Century human Omega.
A fantastical entity.
It's such a whimsical way to capture how magical and exciting these machines felt to people then, almost otherworldly.
But the sources also had some really deep reflections. That piece, looking back at post-war Japan, August 45,
That was powerful, describing the food shortages, diluted rice, barely any rice and soup, the collective hardship. And then hearing the war end on the radio. That sense of relief.
such a stark contrast to the booming 79 arcade scene.
Exactly. It puts it into perspective. Japan rebuilding, this incredible drive, almost like a second Meiji restoration, the piece suggested. And embracing this new entertainment. Maybe it speaks to a society really ready for joy, for distraction, for something new after so much loss.
Entertainment, tech, national spirit, all kind of tangled together.
Deeply. And then there's that bit about U.S. jukebox history.
Yeah.
One-stop distributor idea.
Yeah, Dick Steinberg in the 30s, 40s, delivering new hits directly to operators, streamlining everything. Apparently, he even color-coded records red for pop, green for country. Smart.
Super smart.
Yeah.
But even jukeboxes, huge in the 50s, one for every 130 Americans, started
Yeah.
declining.
Why was that?
Lifestyles changed. People moved to the suburbs, less urban nightlife centered around a jukebox. Discos took over. It shows how broader social shifts just completely change entertainment habits. So looking at early 79, you see this industry just buzzing with the TV game boom, right? But underneath, they're wrestling with these bigger questions.
Regulation, innovation, how society sees them.
Exactly. That shift from physical games to electronic ones, the fights over copying games, even the stories they told about themselves in their magazines. It's all part of this picture of a really dynamic industry trying to figure out its place in a new era.
Yeah, it's striking how much the lines between entertainment, tech, and just daily life were already blurring back then. It feels familiar somehow.
It really does.
So connecting this all to today, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? How much of what feels new now, streaming, AI creating content, VR maybe is just another cycle, echoes of these moments from 79.
That's the question. What's truly a break from the past and what's just history repeating with shinier tech?
And are today's entertainment trends facing similar growing pains? Similar debates about regulation or originality or how they fit into society? It gives you a lot to think about.